The kind of conversations which took place in at least my portion of the agency following September 11, you know, within a week or so, were first bewilderment. What happened? Well, we kind of know what happened. I mean, it's unreal, but there's a sense of appreciation for what happened as well environmentally. What kinds of materials would be released from the collapse of two buildings, such as the Trade Center. I mean, it would have been, and would still be fairly unprecedented to declare a place like Lower Manhattan, a Superfund site, zone, but people could see clearly that there was trouble in the city following the collapse of the towers. My recollection at the time was it appeared there were many things in the environment from the two towers that were certainly hazardous materials, if not hazardous waste, and it was fairly uncontrolled. It was all over the place. It was on the streets, it was in HVAC systems of buildings, it was on rooftops, it was literally on people. So the qualifiers were there to take some kind of action under the Superfund program. Well, my recollection around the atmosphere, let's say, in the agency after September 11 attacks was that there was a lot of suspenseful kind of waiting. It was very clear that what had happened was something of national magnitude on the level of Pearl Harbor, but it had an environmental dimension as well. And of course, everyone knows about the terrorists and what the United States considering taking military reprisal and whatnot. That was on the defense and the international side. On the environmental side, there was a lot of suspenseful waiting, particularly, I think, in the agency. Well, what's the administrator going to do? What's senior management going to do? Because look at this. Look at Ground Zero. Look at Lower Manhattan. And nothing happened on day one, nothing happened on day two, and nothing happened on day three. And then really within that first week, there wasn't a lot of declaration, but then the administrator came out and said very unequivocally, Administrator Whitman, the air is safe to breathe, the water is safe to drink, the environment's safe. And I remember being incredulous at that statement, just absolutely incredulous on what scientific basis was there for the statement. First, because as administrator of the agency, if you're going to make an assurance, such a fundamental assurance to people, boy, you want to know that there's a solid scientific foundation for the statement and for the assurance. I couldn't imagine how there could be one within a week based on what we had deployed as far as monitoring equipment and an effort in the city. We knew things, but we didn't know enough to make that kind of assurance. Second, then, frankly, a bit of an alarming feeling. People are going to think everything's okay. And I did not believe we had the evidence to say everything was okay. In fact, it had been my experience in the agency for years, working with all the regions of the Environmental Protection Agency, many of the offices and departments and the personnel. It was very rare for EPA to come out within a week of any kind of event or substantial contamination problem and say, everything's okay. There's no cause for concern here. We didn't usually make those statements. If we did, it was further down the line and it was supported by reams of data and evidence. Well, there was a prevailing sentiment at the time that we had to stand strong as a nation and not get pushed around. That would be really important for everyone to just kind of buck up, go back to work and go back to your homes, no problem here. There was also a prevailing sentiment or concern that the economy would suffer if Wall Street, which was very close to ground zero, was kept closed down because of the contamination in that area. So in the end, the sentiments of money and standing strong out of some sense of patriotism prevailed over the facts and over our duty under the law to protect people from contamination.